What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Breakdown. I want to talk about this NBA Finals. It's deadlocked at 1-1. We'll talk about Game One. Game One was a very tight game. The Miami Heat led most of the way, and then the difference in the game was, obviously the turnovers. San Antonio Spurs did not have a lot of turnovers. In that particular game, I believe they only had 4 turnovers, and Tony Parker took over the game at the end. Fast forward to Game Two, throughout 2.5 quarters, it looked just like Game One. Both teams kind of went back and forth. The Miami Heat had the majority of the time with the lead. But then after that, the difference in the game was, again, turnovers. The Spurs turned it over 17 times, and the Heat scored 17 points or more off turnovers. And then the difference in the game was that those turnovers sparked a Miami Heat run, and the Miami Heat role players stepped up and made their three-pointers. The only reason the Spurs were maybe still close in the game is because they were able to hit the three-pointer early in the game. But I feel like the Spurs have not played their best game, and the series is tied up 1-1. Manu Ginobili has not showed up, not for a game yet. And like I said, the Spurs haven't played their best game. I feel like the Miami Heat have outplayed the Spurs throughout the first 2 games, but yet still the series is still 1-1. And if it hadn't been for that run that the Miami Heat went on, the Spurs would have been right there at the end of the game again. So if you're a Miami Heat fan, you have to be alarmed that, it looks like you've outplayed this team, the Spurs, through much of the first 2 games, yet the series is 1-1. And really, it really came down to you having to go on a run to really ice the game away. Like I said, I feel like the Spurs have not played their best game. Maybe that's because they were on the road. Maybe it's because of something Miami's doing. We'll see in the coming next couple games, or the next 3 games. But I feel like when the Spurs do put it together, I don't know if it's going to be much the Miami Heat will be able to do, because I just don't think that they can play any better than they have the first 2 games. I mean, the only difference in the first game and the second game is that the second game was more of the role players stepping up, and the first game was more of the superstars like LeBron James stepping up. So we'll see what happens. But if you're a San Antonio fan, you have to like where you're at. And if you're a Miami fan, you have to kind of be alarmed that you outplayed this team, but it's 1-1. And really, it really took turnovers to be the difference in the game. Remember, Spurs fans, if you remember that Warriors series throughout the first 2 games, it looked like the Warriors were the better team, but the Spurs figured them out. So we'll see what happens in Game 3. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are going into Game 3.